Before we get started, I just wanted to show you guys the final product. Don't worry about the cardboard protecting the driveway from the oil leaks. When I first posted my pictures of the seats right after they were installed, I got a lot of hate saying they were defective, I should send them back. So I just wanted to show you what it looks like after a few months. I like them. They're not to everyone's taste, but the leather does shrink once you leave it out in the sun. So this is what it looks like when it's all done. If you're interested, keep watching.
One of the most common questions I'm asked when I take the Volvo 240 here out is this the original interior? And it's not. I've replaced a lot of things. Probably the most important thing I replaced are these seat covers. So these are reproduction vinyl seat covers that match the original upholstery of the Volvo. And over here, we have our Saab 900, and these seats have, especially the front seats here, have definitely seen better days. We actually did go to our local upholstery shop to get a quote on how much it would cost to replace the upholstery, and the local shop quoted me $5,000 to replace the upholstery on these seats. So the back seat's okay though. Yeah, it has a little bit of wear, but it's pretty nice. So instead of doing that, we ordered some seat covers from L-Seat, and they just came in. They're here and they're vacuum packed. So we're gonna open these up, take a look, and then we'll go over how to install them. I've never installed them on a Saab 900 before, but we're gonna go over how to install them on your car and fix up the look of your car for a lot less than $5,000. So L-Seat is an outfit out of Texas, and they custom make all their seat covers. They claim to be genuine leather, and for a few bucks they'll send you this color palette. Now, one potential problem with the seats here at L-Seat is none of these colors really match perfectly. I don't know if you could tell on the video, but the Saab is a taupe, just like a somewhere in between gray and tan, and I found it to be very difficult to match taupe. So we did our best, but we actually chose two-tone. So you could do two-tone leather, you could do perforated leather. They do have some different options. So we did a two-tone. It's not going to match perfectly, but for the price, you know, around $400, a lot less than $5,000, we decided we would be okay with that. So it's vacuum packed. I'm going to cut it. There's the air coming in. Let's see what these look like. Now these claim to be genuine leather. I don't think it's the highest quality leather in the world, but they're inside out. Let's uninside out it. All right. All right, so there's a seat cover. One thing I'm noticing, there's no cutout for the tilt back mechanism. That's going to be a little bit annoying. We'll have to deal with that. The color, obviously, we knew it wouldn't be a rig match. Whenever you put a real gray next to this taupe, you know, when you're just looking at the taupe, it looks gray. Whenever you put a real gray next to it, suddenly you could see the tan in the taupe. But all right, so we have our seat covers. Pretty thick feeling. They feel nice. They smell like leather. And they have a decent amount of padding on the inside too. All right, well, this is what we're gonna have to install. We have, of course, the seat bottom and the headrest all came in the package. All right, the first thing we're gonna need to do is take the seats out of the car. Now on the Saab, it's just 4 bolts. Mine is a T50, although if yours is a different year, it could be a different size. So I got my T50, oops, my adapter so I can use my ratchet. And this is a power heated seat, so there's a bunch of plugs under there. You don't have to really worry about them, just unplug them gently. They only go back in one way, so you don't have to go crazy marking what each wire does. So let's take the seat out. So just be gentle and disconnect these wires. There's a few of them here. Like I said, they only fit in one way, so you don't have to keep track of them. Just don't break the wiring jacks while you're unplugging them. All right, now that your seat is out of the car, we're gonna start to de-skin it, take off the old cover. And you're gonna need some tools, some panel pries, screwdrivers, needle nose pliers, and a good pair of diagonal cutters, which I don't have on this pile. I'll have to get. All right, so to remove the headrest, that's the first thing we're going to remove. There is a torque screw, and you have to pull down the seat, and you have to get your screwdriver in there and then remove this torque screw. That's the first step of taking off the headrest. It's a kind of a tight squeeze, so I'm unscrewing it now. You really have to have a little hand strength and pull down the seat. Well, you don't have to worry about ripping it since we're replacing it, but that is the first step. So I'm going to take this torque screw out, and then there's a tab. After we do both those things, we should be able to take this headrest off. So as soon as I got that screw out, it came up, but there is also a little tab that you can press in there that sometimes you need to press to take out the whole mechanism. But mine came out without pressing that. All right, if you have a hatchback or convertible, you're gonna have to take off the seat back release. This is pressed on very tightly. So I'm gonna use my panel tool. Get behind there. And be very slow and gentle when you're moving it. It will break easily. So it's cracked a little bit already. Let's see. They do sell new ones of these. Let's see. We'll see when we put this back on. I got the other one off without breaking it. This one I feel like was already a little bit broken. But anyway, this doesn't go on tight. We'll have to replace it. But also be careful with this because you need to get this off too. Again, work around. There is a tab on this side and a tab on that side. You don't want to break those. So the originals have this zipper. Just unzip it. And then we're going to start to roll this seat cover up. Once you get the zippers undone, there are two clips like this on each side. You have to pull and release them. But we don't bend these. You have to save these metal clips for the new seat covers. So just give them a good tug and you should be able to stretch them off like that. Make sure you do both sides. So as you roll up the seat cover, the original seat cover, you'll see these straps. They have these little metal rings on them. You have to save these little metal rings. This one's still attached to the seat, but it just clips in there. It's easy to undo. But don't lose those. Save those little metal rings. And again, don't bend them. And then this will just come on up. Okay, once you get the fabric, the old fabric off, chances are these metal bars, there's a curved one that goes around here. There are two here, and kind of the U that goes around. So these metal bars should actually be with the fabric cover, but on most Saabs, those rip right off. So we're going to remove them from the foam. And to do that, you just need a pair of needle nose pliers. Come around the back. And there are little metal clips like this one right here. You just unclip it with the needle nose, and then all that should be removed. Once you get the wire out from the foam, feed it through this channel. And then the short cross wire goes on top. The longer cross wire goes down here. And you do have to cut a little slot with a razor blade through this channel. That way you could feed the hook through and crimp it onto the wire like that and like that. So we're gonna start putting this back, this new cover on. We're gonna start it with inside out, and we're gonna just slowly put it down and roll it over so it's the right way. So of course we do have to cinch the metal bar that we fed through the channel to the groove, and there are certain spots, and you can see there's just holes in the foam. So there's a hole here, there's a hole there, there's two on each of the crossbars, here, and down here. So total we have 2, 4, 6, 8. And to do this, you have a couple choices. You can use the original metal clips like that and clip them, and hopefully that holds. But I'm just switching to zip ties. I've used these in the past. I've talked to other people and they don't seem to fail. So it's a little bit easier because you get tight and you have a little bit more room to maneuver it. Although this job is easier if you have two people. One person to sort of maneuver it, one person to start the zip tie off, that does tend to go easier. But I'm going to go ahead and give this a shot. I'm going to start rolling this on this new seat cover onto the top of the... So here's what it looks like as you get started. I got that zip tie fed through there, and then right there it is caught. I have to get the other side, and then I'll roll it down and pull those tight. So pull them tight as you go down. So roll it down to about there, reach up with a pair of pliers, pull them tight, and then you have the next two. You could still reach up there pretty and find them, but try to get them tight as we go down. So it's a little bit slow going at this point, but these first two are the hardest ones. It gets easier as you go down. As you continue to work your way down, zip tying the all the spots, don't forget about these straps here. And the strap's going to get hooked right there to that clip. Same thing on this side, there's a little hole in the foam. It gets clipped right there. You'll need the little metal rings from your original upholstery. So just take that off and then clip those straps on. Another thing to remember as you're rolling down the seat is that you're going to need these metal clips, and they go here. So do that when you have easy access, because that's going to eventually hook down around here. So you have some time, but I'm going to go ahead and do this now. When I did the other one, clearly just took a hole punch. These might not be exactly the right size, so have a razor blade in case you need to slice this plastic a little bit to make the clip fit in. Now that I have it folded all the way down, I have to clip the sides and then attach, roll it over, pull it down tight and attach it. But before I could do any of that, I need to cut a slot for the seat back release. If you can feel it, that's here. And unfortunately to do this, you have to cut the leather. So be careful. Remember that the little metal latch, which you'll feel, points down. It's at the bottom of the slot. So start with a small cut in the middle of the slot so you can activate the seat. It's going to make it easier to latch it and get the bottom attached, but you don't want to mess this up. I messed it up a little bit on the passenger side. So we're just about done with the seat back. If you remember, the original had a zipper, but the new one does not. So we're going to pinch these closed. And for this, I'll use the traditional upholstery tool with a hog ringed pliers. You can get these really cheap online with these hog rings. And the way this works is it's just a cheap plier, but it actually works fairly easily. You just put the hog ring in like that, and then squeeze, and it will lock together, and it will pierce the fabric. You see it's sharp on the end. So let's go ahead and do a couple of these. Just like that. Then we'll go across. We'll get this all up. I did notice that right down here in the corner there's a little bit less coverage, so make sure you kind of squeeze that foam back. It'll be okay. All right, to remove this base fabric, there's a heavy wire that goes around the entire bottom. It hooks over here by the seat belt. So it goes down here like this, up, and then it hooks up here, kind of behind the seatbelt, which is annoying, but we could work around it, all the way around to this side. Now, this is, once again, assuming that all of this has come undone, which it probably has if you're doing this job. There are some hog rings that hold it to this, them together up here, and here. This is a good place to start. That will loosen up and let you start to peel it around. On this side, you could take out a screw down here and loosen this, and that kind of gives you enough a little bit extra room to see where all this is going. So if you want to take out, you pull off the power steering if you have it, and then power seats rather if you have it, and then take off this screw down here. And you could it won't just come off, but it will loosen it enough that you can see behind this clip. There are also some zip ties here, and they were on the other seat too. I don't know if these are stock or someone added them to tighten it up, but you might want to take a note of where they are so you could zip this back down right here on this corner through this hole and around this heavy bar up here in the front. So I cut this one already, but that was on there. All right. So once you get this off, make sure you remove this bar. You're gonna need that, and this really heavy bar going around the outside. It's gonna be, you could cut it if you don't care, but if you want to pull it out, just be careful. And don't forget, you need these wires. It's one U and one crossbar here. So take these out. They're held in by clips that are attached to the grid on the other side. So we're gonna zip tie this middle section down. We just have to lay this on top, and then we're gonna zip tie this metal bar, which around down to, you can see the grooves here in the foam. So there are 2 spots in the back, one here and one here, 2 spots in the crossbar, one here and one here, and then 3 spots on the top of the arch, here, here, and here. If you have a power seat, it'd be helpful to have 2 people to do this because it could be a little tight under there, reaching around all the motors and stuff. Okay, so this is all zip tied down now. Loosely, we'll tighten it up later. And so now we just start to sort of tuck this in, the wire all the way around. Oop, we'll get that off of the, like that. All right, when you get this tucked in, you have to hook the thick wire into its spot. It's a little tricky on this side to keep it down. So this is gonna get pulled pretty far down, where the wire is gonna go all the way down to here. And so this side gets pulled pretty far down. It latches in here like this, and then kind of wraps around this plastic, which helps hold it down. It's gonna want to pop up, so you might have to do this several times. On the other side, you can't really see the hole because it's covered by this plastic trim piece. You just could loosen this if you carefully pry off your power seat buttons, and there's 1 screw that will loosen this panel enough where you can see where this goes. This side's a little bit easier to get right. The other side's a little tricky because you really have to pull it tight and latch it down. So I'm just going to work on that. Use some zip ties if I have to. Remember, we had the 2 zip ties, one here and one over there. All right, so we're gonna put this bar through here, pull this as tight as we can around this foam covered bar, and then zip tie it down here. And while we have this seat covered over, turned over, we should pull all our zip ties tight and go through. We'll do the final touches, but that's basically the seat bottom. All right, the last thing we have to do is put the new cover on the headrest. Now the headrest is held in by tightly stretched leather that is, there are some metal bars and tabs that hold them on both sides. You're gonna need a flathead screwdriver because those tabs are kind of crimped over. And then you have to pull out those bars. It's very tight. And I don't think there's really, unless you want to cut the leather, which I'm not going to do, I don't think this is really a great way of doing this. So you just kind of have to bend those tabs out. You can see them in there. And then pull the bars out. I mean, even after you get all those tabs out and that metal bar disconnected from the tabs, the leather's still pretty tight. So you have to use a little hand strength and just pull it off the headrest. All right, so once you get the headrest cover off, there are 2 metal bars that slide through a sewn-in pocket on the original. The new one doesn't have this pocket. It does have this little, I don't know what you would even call this little part here that you could, I suppose, fold this over and then use some hog rig clamps to lock that in, but I did the other one. I'm not even going to do that. What I'm going to do, at least for now, if I have to go back and fix it at a later date, I will, but this fits very tightly over the headrest. And if I'm just going to stretch this on as tightly as I can, I'm not going to fasten it in any way. I'm just going to use the tension of the leather itself to hold it on. So let's see what that looks like when I'm done. Oh, I didn't get that on camera.
Oh, Jesus. Are you kidding me?